Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Folks, happy Saturday. Welcome to a brand new episode of Degenerate Danger Zone. Show sponsor, New York's only Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? We got Slick L, Steve in the building, and I had to have Steve on this show. Steve knows exactly why. Arguably the best college basketball slate all season. Yeah. We got Steve's Villanova playing UConn right here at 12, Iowa State, Texas at 2. We got Baylor, Kansas, 2 top 10 teams at 4 p.m. USC, Arizona, Duke, North Carolina. I mean, Steve, what are you looking at first here? This is unbelievable.
I mean, I told you this, Al. You know, if you look at a Saturday slate in college basketball, you're going to get overwhelmed right off the start because there's hundreds of games. And you know me, I love the ranked teams, but I also love those really bad conferences as well. The dirt, the grub, the teams no one's ever heard of, can't name a player, can't pick them out of the crowd. So I love it. I got to go time slot by time slot. The game's just started. It just tipped off, so I'll give my noon ones real quick. Nova -4. I love Nova at home. I've been telling you, Al, I'm not going to get off this Nova train of being a championship contender team. I know they have a bunch of losses this year, but they're top 20 in defensive efficiency. They're top 10 in offensive efficiency. They have elite guard play, and I haven't been impressed too much by UConn this year, especially on the road. Nova at home is a completely different animal. I like Nova -4. And then I'm taking Furman -11 against UNC Greensboro. Furman got out-rebounded by 15 boards the first time they faced Greensboro. That's not going to happen again. They still won the game. It's not going to happen again. Furman has been killing everyone in the Southern Conference right now. They're actually 61st ranked in KenPom. They're a team that could be sneaky come March Madness for an upset. I love Furman. They're going to score in bunches. They shoot the three ridiculously well. I think they're going to, get the rebound advantage back to close to even against Greensboro, and I think they can win by 11. Love those 2 noon games, but we got a whole slate to get through. I know There's a ton of big ranked games, too. We got to talk about those.
Oh, we'll definitely be talking about those, and we got Slick Al looking slick on a slick Saturday. You just get a haircut?
Yes, sir.
Very nice. What are you liking today, Slick?
Man, it's a great day. It's a slick Saturday. That you can never go wrong that way. I was just checking out the college basketball slate myself, as a matter of fact. That is very overwhelming. You guys were not kidding.
Big one.
Slick Saturday, though. UFC Vegas, 47. Can you believe it, Al? Coming from 2020 when we started fighting in the Apex, we'd be here at the 47th Vegas fight night in the Apex. Crazy, right?
It's insane.
But anyway, quite an underrated card. Not crazy for most casual MMA fans. Not a lot of names you will recognize. But the people's main event, our guy, Brian the Pooh Bear Battle, who we just had on the show. He was the winner of the middleweight division of the Ultimate Fighter Season 29. And he was scheduled to fight Trayshawn Gore in the finale. Trayshawn injured his knee. Brian ended up fighting who he had already fought in the semifinals of the Ultimate Fighter. So this is like the finale people were expecting. I expected Brian to win that fight then. I expect him to win the fight now. For some reason, he won the Ultimate Fighter already. He has a more experience than Trayshawn. He's better all the way around. And he's a +120 underdog.
Okay, but Slick, that's why I want to ask you. I know you're biased. You interviewed the guy. Why is he an underdog? Why?
The only thing I can think of is Trayshawn had a knockout finish over a guy that Brian submitted in the finale, and Trayshawn's also undefeated, but he's only 4-0. Brian's 7-1, and his first loss came as a submission due to armbar in his very second pro fight. These guys are both from the same regional scene. Yep. If you heard Brian in my interview, Brian's from North Carolina. Trayshawn's from South Carolina. He said this was kind of he could have seen it coming, but it's almost like they're not supposed to fight. But if you listen to Brian, killer mentality, like he said, he's just different. And I believe the dude. Dude could easily be fighting at light heavyweight. He walks around at 215. Wow. And he cuts down to 185 with ease. He's much bigger. He said he was the biggest guy in the house by far for the middleweight division. And he's got a couple inches on Trayshawn. He's got a bigger reach. I think it's a great fight. I'm not trying to discredit Trayshawn. He's a great fighter, highly touted prospect during the show, and he looked great also. But Brian, man, he's just different, like you said.
Look, we're tailing the Pooh Bear. We're doing
Of
that.
course.
Yeah, I think we have to. I think
can't.
we have to.
We can't not.
Especially after that interview, Slick. Awesome interview. Incredible. I got to tail him now.
Yeah,
I got him.
Yeah,
I'll
great
be on
guy
that.
too. Shout out, Brian.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely we'll be on that. Now let's kick it real quick back over to college basketball. Steve knows where I'm going here. 8 p.m. Kentucky, Alabama. This is Alabama's. They're playing what? 3 top 5 teams in 7 days, 8 days.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Insane. And not just obviously all top 5 teams are great, but I mean Auburn, Baylor, Kentucky. That's 3 potential Final Four teams. That could be 3 of the 4 Final Four teams. And I told you this, Al, with Alabama. I know you were worried a little bit earlier in the week. They got the huge home win against Baylor. It was obviously going to be very tough to go in Auburn. And when that Auburn team at home, it's a jungle. Welcome to the jungle. That is basically what it is in Auburn this year. They're unbelievable.
Fun and games.
But I'll tell you what, Al. I told you how much I love Kentucky. They killed Kansas on the road. They looked very impressive there. They kind of had a kind of come-down game against Vanderbilt where they were just kind of going through the motions. That game was never like they were going to lose it, but they couldn't really just pull away.
Yep.
But going into Bama, man, Alabama has been an inconsistent team this year. But there is probably not another team in college basketball has 5 better wins than Alabama. You have them at home at basically a pick-em game.
Yeah.
I kind of want to take the home team again. I kind of want to take them at home again, just like against Baylor. I think they can win at home.
And Steve, I could not agree with you more, especially at home. That's what we're talking about. We knew going into that Baylor-Auburn 2 weeks coming up, they had to win the home game. They realistically weren't going to go to Auburn and win, which they didn't.
No.
And Steve, got to ask you, and Maniac brought this up earlier in the week when they were playing Auburn. When's the last time you've seen a team play the number 1 team in the country on the road and only be a 6-point dog unranked?
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And Bama will be ranked, I think, after this week, regardless if they lose or win today because of that win against Baylor from the other week. I think but the thing is here with Alabama, my biggest thing with them is it's just inconsistency. They always want to speed you up. That's how they play. They can play very good defense at times, but Auburn just kind of has perfected it to where when Bama wants to go on a run, Auburn can, mitigate it and do it. I don't think Kentucky can. Kentucky has really big guys inside, down low. We just need a hot shooting night for Bama. That's really what we need because I think Bama, the reason they kind of fell out of the rankings, you can't lose against Georgia this year. I said Georgia football was the best this year. We talked about it. Georgia football was always going to be them all year long. That defense, their basketball program, the complete opposite. They are one of the worst Power 5 basketball programs. You can't lose to that. Bama's had some bad losses, but look at their wins on their resume. And that's why the lines, when they come out, are the way they are. When it was close, like a 3-point spread against Baylor. When it was only 6 on the road to Auburn. Now a pick 'em against Kentucky, who looks like they could beat anybody right now. It's because at their best, Bama can play and beat anyone in the country. And I really think they deserve that. Obviously, we love Nate Oates for everything he did at Buffalo, turning Buffalo into a great program for that stretch he was there. Mm-hmm. I think Bama, they have the athletes, they have the players. It's just a lot of inconsistency on the shooting. They can turn over the ball, get sloppy a little bit when they try to play super fast. But guys like Quinterly, man, Shackelford, it's a good team. And if they are hot, they can shoot. They can beat anybody. And I think it is completely fair that it's like a pick-em game today, that it was 6 on the road against Auburn. This Bama team, they're going to be tough to pick come March Madness because you don't know which team you're going to get on a night-to-night. But I'll tell you what, if they just get hot at the right time, Al, they can play with anyone.
But they can definitely make a run in the NCAA tournament. Slick, can I kick it back to you real quick? Is there anything else you're eyeing up in college basketball slate today?
Honestly, no. There's too much to choose from. I'm kind of overwhelmed.
It's okay.
I just woke up like an hour ago. Wasn't prepared for that at all.
That's fine.
So,
hey, I'm kicking it right back to Steve. And I knew
Steve, we had Steve on the show. I was like, I'm going to leave that right to Steve.
Steve, got to ask you. You got 8 Baylor, 10 Kansas. 10 Kansas minus 2.5 at home. What's your lean there in that one?
I'm actually leaning Kansas. It's kind of weird because I go back and forth with Kansas this year. I had Kentucky when they were in Kansas. I think Kansas matches up better against Baylor than they do against Kentucky. I kind of like Kansas here. Baylor, to me, they've been a very good team, but I think when they control the game, that's when they're great. They're obviously an elite team. They're great at offense, great at defense. But when they get behind a little bit early, especially in a tough environment like it is going on the road against Kansas, I think Baylor could struggle. Sometimes their shooting can get a little inconsistent. In Kansas, they have size where they're not going to let Baylor dominate them down low. I kind of like Kansas here. I think both teams are very good. But if Kansas gets out to a hot start, it's going to be harder for Baylor to claw back this year than it has been previous years. And with Baylor, I think we saw against Alabama too, Al, it was kind of that case. Even when Bama got out to that run early on and they were up 7 and Baylor would claw back a little bit, but then Bama would go on the run. And it just kind of happened like that the rest of the way. On the road, Kansas just get out to a quick start, and I think they can kind of have the same kind of game flow that it was Bama versus Baylor.
Well, let's see. We got Ty B chiming in here. Chattanooga to bounce back and cover a big spread early and under in the Samford game.
Ty B's killing that Southern Conference. I'll tell you what, Ty B has been killing the Southern Conference. It's been a fun conference. I know I'm on Furman earlier, but that conference, there's a lot of value. There's a lot of decent teams there. Chattanooga, probably one of the top ones. And then I think Samford, I haven't looked too much into the Samford game, to be honest with you, but if he has an under, I believe it's probably got to be Samford Citadel would be my guess. And that's got to be that's got to be a high total. If it's a Samford Citadel under, because Citadel, one thing I'll say, on offense, Citadel's fun. They're an exciting team. On defense, the Citadel, they're 5 lawn chairs. They don't play defense. They've never practiced defense. I've been betting on Citadel games for 4 or 5 years. They don't play defense. So it's got to be a super high total for me to take a Citadel under. If Tybee's on it, he's been killing that conference.
I cannot wait to get back in a lawn chair at Studio D. Front yard, sun's out. And then another one, Steve, just real quick. Obviously, you got to talk about Duke, North Carolina, 6 p.m. Duke's laying 3 on the road. You got to think the public's going to be hammering Duke, but North Carolina at home, I think they haven't lost this year.
Yeah, they haven't lost this year, but North Carolina this year's been probably, in my mind, one of the most frustrating teams. They're horrible defensively. They're horrible. Every team shoots very well when they face North Carolina, and I think Duke this year, I haven't watched too much Duke, but Duke's a pretty consistent team this year. They've had a couple, spots where they haven't played well, but overall their offense has been pretty good. They have one of the best players in the country. I know usually I like to take the home team in the rivalry, and it always seems close. And with the line being Duke as a top 10 team, only favored by 3 on the road, it feels like a complete trap line.
Yep.
We'll see. I'm going to look into this game more as the day goes on because, like I said, I got to go time slot by time slot on Saturdays. There's too many games, and I look into all of them. I look in the stupid conferences as well. But right now, I think even though it feels like a trap, I think Duke is the play there. I think they're just a much better team. And North Carolina, one of their strengths year to year has been defense. They are having a great glass advantage, which has been the case for North Carolina the past couple of years.
There he is.
But defense,
got something to say.
Their defense, man, not great.
Okay. All right. Let's swing it over to Ty B.
Yeah, I'm here. I got the blue collar bull shirt on. We got some blue collar picks today. Starting off, Samford Citadel under 157. That number is way too high for that game. Both these teams do play at a high pace, and we've seen Citadel just gave up 102 points last game, but that's not happening again. Samford is not efficient enough offensively. Both these teams are in the latter half of the country offensively. When you look at efficiency, yes, they put up some points sometimes, but that's just because they play so fast. They're going to be sloppy in that game, and I like the under there big time. And then I'm looking again in the 1 o'clock slot. I like Northwestern here at Nebraska. I think Nebraska is absolutely horrendous. And if you actually look at the Ken Palm here, you got almost about 100 team spread here. Northwestern is actually inside the top 100. Surprisingly, they're sitting around like 79th. They're a decent team there. I think they can get a big win on that one. And I have to go with UB here at Central Michigan. Central Michigan really struggled early on there against Western, who now is the worst team in the MAC. But both those teams, UB won by 14 at Western, and they really, really struggled early on in that game and kind of boat raced them at the end. I think they should be able to come out and hit Central Michigan early, who struggled early on at home against Western. I like UB to go out there and make a statement after some big losses. I think Central Michigan's going to be cocky after 3 straight wins finally.
Let's go.
Yeah. And I think what I say about MAC schools this year, Ty, and I think you can agree, the Michigans, Central, Eastern, Western, are just a different section. They are terrible. They are terrible. And UB has been very disappointing. I think we can all agree with that. But against these Michigan, Central, Eastern, and Western, I love fading all three of them. I don't know if I want to fade. I think it's Western Day. They get they're 21-point dogs to Ohio, but regardless. And Ohio is the top of the MAC this year. There's no doubt in my mind there. But these Michigans just fade the directional Michigans. They are awful. And they play awful basketball, too. You'll watch a game for 5 minutes. You're like, have they practiced before? Have they played basketball this year?
It's bad. I bet Central Michigan against Western the other night. I had the money line, and I was just sick to my stomach. They were down by like 5 or 6 early, and I was like, oh, no.
Here we go.
I mean,
It wasn't a pretty game. They even got the cover by a few points. They kind of ran away with it early. It wasn't really, but, you look at the score line. It looks like they dominated them. They did not dominate them. They got, they kind of pulled away there at the end. So I think this is a game where UB has to win when you look at it, Al, especially convincingly. Like, they've had some poor performances. Yes, they've played a little bit of tougher competition lately. They played a valiant effort against Toledo, but Toledo and Ohio are, just steps ahead of everyone else in the MAC. Right. UB can, still try and, stake a claim for a top half, though, of the MAC. They got to win a game like this convincingly.
Yeah, and the poor Michigans are all at least double-digit dogs today.
They're bad. They are bad this year.
Oh, Jesus. Now, Slick, you got anything? I know we've, I know you had the battle. Actually, no, that's Ty B. What do you think about battle today? Pooh Bear in the UFC as an underdog.
I think I'm riding with Slick in that one. I think Pooh Bear probably has a little bit more of a all-around game just because of his experience, especially within, having more professional fights, having, about double the amount. So when you think about that, that's a big time there. Like, you have to really, like, you're making a name for yourself here. He's had 7 professional fights now. He's trying to really grow within the UFC after the Ultimate Fighter. You have to go out and win this. He knows that was, supposed to be the final. He's known this is going to be an inevitable fight. He's, seen this guy. He's trained for this guy multiple times. So he knows what he has in his bag. And being the bigger guy, I don't think he's just going to go out there and get himself knocked out. So if that's the case, I'm going with Pooh Bear.
Love it.
Yeah, you make some great points, Ty. I mean, and we got to account for, too, how Trayshawn's coming off these months layoff with that knee injury. I think he hasn't stopped training since he got back from the Ultimate Fighter house. Sure, he became a dad. He's looking more shredded than he was in the finale. I just don't see a situation here where he loses. He said in the interview, I give it like the first round is like the qualifying round. That's where like I test you out, feel you out, and then I got you figured out going into 2 and 3. I think we might see a close first round. Trayshawn's a very capable kickboxer on his feet. I think come round 2 and 3, it's going to be domination. And if this fight goes to the ground, I think it's a wrap.
Is this going to be like a Nadal type hammer out of you today, Slick? Is it
Already is. It has been for 2 weeks.
There we go. There we go.
Love it. I know. Have you guys been following any of the golf this week? I know we got.
I have not actually.
Yeah, I know Josh Allen's playing down there at Pebble Beach. Seamus Power is currently
awesome name.
Yeah, incredible. He's up 5 strokes going into the final 2 rounds Saturday and Sunday here. He's only minus 110 even at some spots. But I just feel like, the guy shot back-to-back 64s. There's got to be value on the board. There's someone that's going to shoot a ridiculous number, or 2 or 3 people that shoot a ridiculous number to come back. I feel like these guys on Saturday and Sunday who are always leading, and I try and take, they never win. They never capitalize. Throw them in a parlay. They're up 3 strokes. They lose on Sunday. Yep. So we'll be interested to see how much power is up heading into the final day tomorrow.
Where's Cantley at?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm looking at the leaderboard, and in the top 10, he's
6
5
back.
He's one of the only notable names there, too. One of the guys with, experience.
Right.
Other than that, you got Hodge, you got Putnam. I mean,
Spieth sitting at a plus 8,000.
What is Cantley's odds, Al?
Plus 350.
Plus 350.
For 6-back. Wow.
That's insane. Like, come on.
I know.
Crazy.
Power was one of the quote-unquote favorites. He was like, I think he had the 6th or 7th best odds to win this damn thing. He's minus 110 and Cantley's 6-back and plus 350. That's pretty it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, guys, we can start wrapping it up here. Do you guys have any final plays for this free money and slick Saturday?
So I'm on Montpellier already this morning in Liga. Montpellier up 1-0, getting laid into that game there. Loved that. That line somehow moved. I got it at 195 before it went off. It was like 215 plus 215, something like that. They haven't allowed a goal when they play at Saint Etienne like the past 4 games, and it's trending in the same direction again. Hopefully that scoreline stays the same. But I'm looking into the afternoon for Ligue 1 and Lyon. Too big of underdogs here. I know Monaco has been scoring a bunch, but Lyon is just too good to be this big of an underdog. I like Lyon plus the half goal there, and you're getting like minus 120. So basically Lyon or a draw, and you're at almost even money. I think you got to take that every time. Both those teams are battling in the standings, just separated by 1 point there. Lyon's been a bit disappointed by the start of their season, but they've been playing better even on the road. So they got to figure things out here in the second half of the season to get back into European play, which they obviously want to do. So I think this is a big road game for them. I think they're going to get it done.
Tybee, I got to ask you before we go to Steve here. What about the bottom of the table in the Premier League? Watford, Burnley. I mean, you're talking the 2 worst teams in the table. Who you got in that one? If you had
draw.
0-0? 0-0 draw?
No, probably 1-1.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a draw. I think you have a managerial change, I believe, just happened on one side. So it's just a big clusterfuck at the bottom there. I'd completely stay away. This game was supposed to happen 2 other times and has been moved because of COVID. Both of them seem, a lot more healthy, but some guys are still on international / just coming back, and you don't know what kind of condition they're going to be in, and how much they were playing for the national team. So it's just a shit show right now with everything going on. I'm personally staying away, but I was leaning the draw just because of some research I read the other day, and generally betting the draw in a game where teams are pretty evenly matched ends up profiting just because of the odds. But
all right, Steve, fire away. What do you got here? Final plays.
I just got 2 more. Like I said, we're going time slot by time slot. I got 2 more games no one's really looking at for college basketball, both at 2 p.m. First one's Temple -4 at home against Tulsa. Tulsa winless on the road this year. They've been getting killed on the road in conference as of late. I think Temple's a much better team than Tulsa. They beat Tulsa in Tulsa earlier on, and Tulsa plays a lot better at home than they do on the road. I usually don't like looking at just a previous matchup to, say what the result's going to be of the next coming game. But I just think Temple's a better team. I think 4 is too short of a line. I really don't think it's going to be that close. And then I'm taking my darlings from Bradley. They've been so good to me this year. They're on the road against Evansville. Evansville just can't score, and Bradley's been pretty good regardless of road or home. A solid defensive team as well. I like Bradley -7.5 at Evansville and Temple -4 against Tulsa at the 2 p.m.s. And as you know, Al, we're going time slot by time slot, so I'll have more picks throughout the day. I'll have more picks going into the night slate, maybe some NBA player props too, because those have been on fire for me. And anything that we're winning these next couple of weeks, we're just building the bankroll for the Rams, baby. For the Rams. We're just building the bankroll.
Let's go.
Absolutely love it. I should start every bet from this point on, just parlay with Rams. Rams money line.
I won't say no to that.
No.
I won't say no to that.
No.
Every straight play just with the Rams.
and I wish we had access to figure out what's the handle on some of these games you're talking about, like the Chattanooga.
I know, right?
I want to know how much money is being bet on those games compared to Duke UNC and these top 10 matchups. It's got to be ridiculous.
And that's the thing too.
Considerable.
And that's why I like these conferences too, because they're not the books aren't trying to trap you. They're not trying to trap you. They're not trying to get big wins on a Mississippi Valley State at Grambling. They don't care about those games. They just throw the lines out there, and those are the ones I love. And I know Ty's the same way. We'll have Micah from Happy Hour Hoops. He'll come in and he'll ask us. He'll hey, Ty, Steve, you got any basketball plays you like tonight? There could be 10 ranked games on, and Ty and I are giving them teams that you couldn't even name a player from. You couldn't even say what state these teams are from.
Yeah, I mean, it's about trusting the analytics sometimes and trusting some of the trends and how teams play at home versus on the road, and seeing, who's been traveling, who hasn't, and just kind of what they've been doing recently versus what they've been doing as a whole on the season. And the other day, like, I had a $4 parlay to win $960. I had fucking Samford money line plus 250, Western Carolina money line plus 205, BMI money line, like crazy shit, and it all hit. Like it happens. Like there's underdogs that win every day, especially in these small conferences. And if you pay attention to those things, you'll find those dogs, and it's very profitable.
I'm on the chalk.
That's where you'll find the value too, because the difference between a top team in those conferences and a bottom team is not as much as you would think, as it is in like the top ACC team to the bottom ACC team, top SEC team, bottom SEC team. Like Auburn kills Georgia. That difference is huge, but the difference between the top team and like the Horizon League to the bottom team there, not as much as you would expect. These games can get a lot closer, especially going later on into the season.
Yeah. All right, Slick, give us your final play of the night, and what cocktail will you be sipping on tonight?
I'm gonna go with something that wasn't in my video. I'm looking at the co-main event here. Nick Maximov against Soriano. Two pretty evenly matched middleweights. Soriano's coming off a loss to Brendan Allen. Maximov 7-0, pretty impressive unanimous decision debut in the UFC on the UFC 266 card. I might lay a little bit on Maximov at plus 170. I like his wrestling. I think Soriano's looked inconsistent in some aspects of his game. I got Maximov there, plus 170, and you just got to stay tuned for my video coming soon to see the next plays that we got besides Pooh Bear.
Okay. Oh, yeah. We'll be posting that up soon. And what time does it start? 4 p.m. today, the card?
4 p.m. prelims. Yes, sir.
Awesome. What's the cocktail you're sipping on tonight?
Oh, that's a good question. I might get like a little scotch and soda going.
Okay, well, you know what? If you need some scotch, you know where to go. New York's only outlet liquor when you need to stock up. It's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? Folks, go get that free money today and get ready to hammer the Rams in the Super Bowl next weekend. Good night.
Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only